Very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Bhushan. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 27th July 2020. Day is Monday. I'm sure you all have enjoyed your weekend. Today is Monday. Let's start our discussion with this quote. I want you guys to imagine primitive men when you read this quote. I get out in the morning looking for an adventure. When I read this quote, it gave me this visual in my mind, a primitive man coming out of his cave, and I think we all are the same primitive man. We want to experience something new every day. We want to explore something new every day. We want to feel something new, and I think this is a fuel, right? This is a pull factor that pulls us out of our bed. Think about it, the sense of new adventure. With this difference, the StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And the most important thing is, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have subscribed, if you have pressed the notification bell, can I request you guys to ask 3 more students to join StudyIQ YouTube channel. Dear friends, on our table we have 5 important articles. 3 are from the Hindu newspaper, 1 is from Times of India, and 1 is from Indian Express. And then if we have time, then we'll go through it, or else I have some news items as well for you guys. So let's start our discussion with scandalizing as contempt. This one is from the Hindu newspaper. Now on your screen you can see Prashant Bhushan. He's a very famous activist as well as a very famous lawyer of our country. He practices in Supreme Court. In our country, Supreme Court lawyers are lawyers as well as judges. They are very famous, isn't it? You find their names in famous newspapers, and many of them, just like Prashant Bhushan, they are associated with they are in news because of their activism role as well. They are activists as well as lawyers. So they are very influential people and very famous as well. Now the reason why we have this particular topic on our table today is because it's about this controversy. Prashant Bhushan, he tweeted he tweeted 2 tweets, and in his second tweet particularly he said something that Supreme Court is not happy with at present. Right, Supreme Court has initiated a contempt of court proceeding against Prashant Bhushan. So here we are going to ask few questions. First is, what is the necessity of the contempt of court law? What was the necessity? Why we have this contempt of court law? Now, dear friends, I have few friends who are advocates, and we hang out and we talk about things about each other's profession, of course. And being a curious citizen, I would like to, I have asked them many questions like how it works, and I know a few judges as well. So whenever we meet, we talk about this sort of things like how you decide, means the importance and certain things about judiciary and things like that. So I know this thing that there are few things that you cannot do in a courtroom. For example, if your mobile rings, then that's a big thing. Some judge will even punish you, they will ask you to pay a fine. Some judges will kick you out of that courtroom. They will ask you to leave the courtroom. Some judge may punish you by asking you to spend your whole day on the last bench of the court, where you have people, I'm sure you have seen court, not if in real, then in movies and television, of course. So they give you this punishment that you have to spend your whole day, right, till evening. You have to sit in the last bench, and you cannot go out anywhere, and you cannot use your phone, and things like that. So it all depends. So this is of course I strongly believe that this sort of things are important because see, first of all, we have open courts in our country. So if you are going there, then you have to abide by the rules and regulations of the court, isn't it? There are a few things that you have to follow. You cannot, your phone and your behavior, and if you stand up all in between, and you cannot disturb that environment. All right. It is very important. Okay. So These are the things that are important now when it comes to this sort of things, like, say, for example, saying something about court, right? If you say that our courts are not functioning properly, if you say that judges are not up to the mark, or whatever it is, if this sort of statements, if they trigger a contempt of court proceeding against an individual or a group, then that is a matter of concern, because first of all, we are democracy. Second thing is that if people are saying some bad words, if they are being obnoxious, if they are not using the right language, if they are using foul language, if they are cussing, then of course we need to initiate a contempt of court proceeding against those individuals. But at present, we are living in an era of social media, and we have some good things. Social media advantages and disadvantages, there are many, and I'm sure you know many as well, because you have experienced many. But I would like to say that the good thing about social media is that those people who were not able to raise their voice, now they have this power to put their words, to put their or take a stand on anything. If something goes wrong nowadays, we find that people, they will post a video clip, and this will go viral, and then authorities, they have to take action. You cannot escape. You cannot just duck those sort of viral videos. So I think this is an advantage. But the bad thing is, and this is very dangerous, I want you guys to think about it. Because of social media, everyone thinks that they are a writer. I know they think that they can write, and they don't have any boundaries. I see so many people, they are using such a bad language in so many things. If they cannot even oppose, they cannot even logically oppose things. They write anything they like, and I'm sure if you bring out laws, and if these laws are implemented 100%, if you 100% implement these laws, that if someone writes something bad about, when I say bad, I'm talking about bad language. If you're using bad language about or about some individual, or maybe institution like Supreme Court, or maybe any politician, if you are using any bad language, and if you are punished, for example, if you know this thing for sure, that you will be found and you will be punished, then we can clean up this system. People will not use that language, because these people, they know that nothing will happen to them. They are saying anything they like, and this is a bad thing, because these things can trigger social disharmony. Now, coming to this particular topic, the most important thing that I told you was that everyone feels like they are a writer. But here, Prashant Bhushan has said something. I'm not saying what he has said is right, or what he has said is wrong, but the thing is, he has a right to speak. First thing. The second thing is that he's a very famous person. If you go through his tweet, he has not used any sort of bad language. If he is saying that something is not right with Supreme Court or any particular person or something like that, then this, if you are a public figure, then people will pass their opinion. This should be logical, of course. Again, I am repeating, you cannot use bad language. You cannot just if you are not happy with policy of any government, Manmohan Singh government or Modi government, then you have a right to say that these things are not going right. Means the economy wise, or this military wise, or whatever it is, you feel government is doing great, or it is performing very badly. So it's your choice, your opinion. You can of course share it. But if you use bad language, then that is not acceptable. But here I'm sure he has not used any sort of bad language. Now, the thing is, why we are still using this contempt of court rules and regulations. It all started back in 18th century England, and one of the main reason was the necessity was felt that to project courts as impartial institutions, and to give this blaze of glory to judges. This was at that point of time decided that we need to have this contempt of court rules and regulations. But if you ask questions, then these questions should not be taken as contempt of court. Now, if court is, and this is my personal opinion, that if courts or judiciary, and not just of our country, but of the whole world, right? In any country, if judiciary is ashamed of something, that is, if judiciary is not comfortable with the words said by some, let's say, lawyers, in this case Prashant Bhushan, then I think there is nothing judiciary should be ashamed of delay in justice delivery system. If your main job is to maintain rules, to deliver justice in society, in a nation, and if you are not good at it, if people have to sell their properties to fight a case, if it takes ages, when I say ages, I mean to say a few days ago we were talking about the 65-year-old case, a verdict was delivered after 65 years. So if these things are not, if you don't feel contempt by this sort of lethargy and this sort of, what do we say, delay in justice delivery, then I think words by Prashant Bhushan, or I'm not covering him up, I'm not associated with him, I'm just saying that this is nothing. The real contempt should be that why judiciary is not delivering justice on time. Why a common man of our country cannot afford the Supreme Court judges, or beg your pardon, Supreme Court lawyers. Supreme Court judges, they know this thing very well, that lawyers of Supreme Court, they will charge you 25 lakh, 15 lakh, 10 lakh rupees. This is very common just for one appearance. On one given day, if you ask someone, the more famous he or she is, the more they are going to charge you, because for them means the time is not available. Their whole business is based on time. The more they appear, the more money they will make. So they will, and the bigger the name, reputation they have, the more they are going to charge you. But I don't think so that most of us will be able to afford a Supreme Court lawyer. So if you cannot afford a lawyer, then you cannot afford justice. So this whole judiciary that is meant to deliver justice to our system, it is unreachable when it comes to a common man. And we have these things as well, like a judge can rescue themselves, or judges can rescue themselves, or a judge can rescue himself or herself from any given case without any explanation. Even charges of sexual harassment are not credibly investigated. So this sort of things should create a sense of contempt for the court, not just the words by citizens. So I want you guys to think about it. With this, dear friends, we are going to talk about a very interesting historical events. And it's going to be like a story, right? So I'm going to start with 1982. On your screen, you have this photo. He is Deng Xiaoping, and she is Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister of UK, first female Prime Minister of UK, and Deng Xiaoping was Premier of China. So back in 1982, when these two leaders, because the reason why these two leaders were having meetings back in 1982 is because this region called Hong Kong, on your screen you can see China, and here this portion here you have one side Hong Kong, the other side you have Macau. So Hong Kong Special Administrative Region is here on your screen, right? So this is Hong Kong. All right. So Hong Kong was under control of UK. UK got it on lease for 99 years, and this lease was about to expire in 1997. So in 17 years or 15 years ago, that is in 1982, when negotiations were going on, Chinese Deng Xiaoping said to Margaret Thatcher that horses will still run, stocks will still sizzle, and dancers will still dance in Hong Kong once this handover takes place. So basically he said that Hong Kong will be as it is now. Horses here means there's horse races and sports and everything will go on. Market will operate, people will enjoy, the parties will go on, and the life will go on in Hong Kong as it used to be. And in fact, in much more democratic fashion. Deng wanted to bring the whole territory under Chinese control in 1997, and negotiations started in 1982. Now the thing is, in 1984. It was Deng started, Deng was talking about China in a liberalizing, he was taking China in a liberalizing direction, and It gave a sense of confidence to Margaret Thatcher as well. She felt that the way China is moving ahead, the way China is opening up its economy, uh, China is going to get rich, China is going to get economically powerful, and then China will go, it will choose, it will head in a democratic destination, or basically China will become a democracy once it will make enough money, or once it will get economically powerful. China will of course go for democracy. That's what leaders were thinking back in 1980s, and particularly UK thought that Hong Kong was managed in more democratic manner compared to mainland portion. Mainland is this China here, this is mainland China. So mainland China, very authoritative regime. Hong Kong was democratic compared to China. So Margaret Thatcher thought that China will become democracy later on. And the second thing is that Deng Xiaoping has promised this thing to a global leader, and Deng Xiaoping's promise is China's promise, and China will not, means it will not cheat. It will stick with its word. It will walk the talk, because the whole world will lose trust on China if China deviates from its promise. So Deng died a few months before the Hong Kong handover on 1st July 1997, and this after 82 they had this 1984 Sino-British Joint Declaration, and it explained that one country, two systems. So you have just one country, that means Hong Kong is part of China. So it's one country, but they have two systems. One is authoritative, the other one is more democratic. Hong Kong would enjoy a high degree of autonomy as a special administrative region of China. The local way of life would continue while Beijing oversaw defense and diplomacy. Then came in 1990, Basic Law. But before that, a very important, interesting thing took place on 4th July 1989. Tiananmen massacre took place, and this was a big shock. Western world as well as UK, they thought that the way China has handled this Tiananmen Square protest by students, and so many were killed by China or the government, so they thought that China will never become. Many said that you cannot trust China, it will not behave democratically in future. But hopes were quite high, and they thought that Hong Kong is altogether different thing. So they are not going to do something like that. Something that they did in this Tiananmen Square protest, they are not going to do something similar to Hong Kong. Back in 1989, they thought this is okay. This is just in one portion of China. It's not Chinese government's behavior or its DNA. In 1990, Basic Law came out, and it seemed to offer Hong Kong's people an attractive vision of life from 1997 to 47. Independent judiciary, a freer press, strong rights of assembly and speech than mainland cities. And 1997, handover took place. Handover means China was, this Hong Kong was given by UK to China, and courts of Hong Kong, they enjoyed this independence. Newspapers criticized national as well as local policies, and this things were going on, but democracy was elusive. Fewer than 2,000 people got to vote for the chief executive, and then just for candidates vetted by Beijing. But it seemed possible that this could change. They thought like in long run this will change. But in 2020, you know what happened in 2018, then 2019, and 2020 finally, China came out with this national security law. And this NSL, that is National Security Law, has basically killed this one country, two systems. It has imposed one country, one system. It has imposed this authoritative regime on Hong Kong, and Hong Kong used to, or it was believed that Hong Kong will enjoy this democracy, independent judiciary and all these things till 2047, but this thing was killed in 2020, 25 or 27 years before this treaty was about to expire. So that's what Hong Kong is at present under China. And Beijing is also not concerned about its trustworthiness anymore, right? If you trust Beijing, if you don't, It doesn't matter to China. A revolution in policy mindset. Sustainable development goals. There are 17 sustainable development goals. That means SDGs. These SDGs are, fixed by United Nations, and it applies on every nation on this planet. Okay. This 17 sustainable goals, if you go through it, I want you guys to go through it. I want you guys to think about it. The reason is that whenever you read a new yojana, whenever you read a new scheme, for example, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. So it's about poverty. And then I want you guys to find things in this 17 goals. You will find that poverty is number one goal. If you find something about, affordable and clean energy, then that is goal number 7. You don't have to remember these numbers, but what I want you guys to understand is that every yojana of our country, of any country, will be in line with this 17 national goals. Most of them, I would say, right? 90-95%, or many times 100%, but practically 95% of schemes and yojanas are directly, indirectly touching this 17 sustainable development goals. Now, COVID-19 pandemic is very bad, of course, but it is good as well if we take it a bit positively. The thing is, this pandemic has exposed fragility as well as systemic gaps in many key systems. When it comes to hospitals, when it comes to cleanliness, when it comes to social evils that we find in our society, like poverty is, poverty is the mother of other crimes and other bad things, because a poor family cannot afford education. So lack of this affordability will give birth to illiteracy. Illiteracy is lack of, it's not just lack of, but I would say illiteracy means you will miss so many opportunities. As a human being, we have to train our mind, and education is all about training our mind. So experiences and these things are good, and you can't have, means it's not always necessary a person who has read so many books, and if he or she has completed his formal education, that means that person is wise, or you can say knowledgeable. It also, we find so many people, they are illiterate, but they have life experiences, so they are also that much important. But if you can have both, right, formal education as well as life experiences, then that is outstanding. That is cutting edge, I would say. So lack of opportunity, and it is there are so many things. So poverty is basic, one of them. It's like a mother of all these bad things, and poverty is something that we can get rid of. It's not something impossible to treat. It is possible, but for that it will take a bit of time. It will take investment, not just of money, but of society's investment, individual investment in making a positive change in society. Okay, now this fragility that has been exposed by COVID-19, we cannot live with it anymore. Like, for example, till now we have said that, okay, if we don't have good hospitals in our city, or if good government hospital in our village, we were okay with it. We used to say that, okay, it's fine, I'll go to a private hospital. But I think once we are out of this pandemic, then people will, and people have started asking questions, and people, in fact, the government can also feel this thing that people nowadays, they want good quality government hospitals, and not just one in a city. We need dedicated hospitals and mohalla clinics in various different parts of our city, as well as villages, as well as our towns. And this is something very basic. Financing small and medium enterprises. Now they are also aware that if we are the biggest job givers when it comes to manufacturing, then we should get loans, we should have access to, and even economists are saying that thing, that without providing support to MSMEs, you cannot survive. Our economy will not survive. Gender-based discrimination, violence, all these things were also part of this news items during this lockdown. So many women, they faced this what do we say, domestic violence, right? Domestic violence. So now things are changing, and so many governments, like South Korea, recently announced a new deal, and the two central pillars of this new deal is digitization and decarbonization. Many Pacific countries are opting for blue recovery. This is about sustainable fisheries management. India recently announced largest solar power plant in the region, and China is creating more jobs in renewable energy sector than fossil fuel industries. So, what we need is we need more, creative. We need more robust and revolutionary policy mindset and practices. Only then we would be able to achieve this sustainable development goals. And without SDGs, we are going to go down. Even if one country, single country, if that country will not achieve SDG, then other countries' efforts will go waste. It's gone past metros. This is the phase, or this is the zone that we used to fear, but now this is a reality. Earlier on, this COVID-19 was limited to metro cities or bigger cities, but now we find that it is penetrating in our rural India as well. Our topmost priority should be medical facilities should be available. We have to do everything that is possible to make sure that mortality rate is reduced as much as possible. We need to ramp up testing. Hospitals should be available. Beds should be available, right? Government preparedness, providing money, support, other things. Zero survey is also important. We need to test more and more people, and we are in a phase where we find that 50,000 cases per day are coming out in India. So this is spreading like a wildfire now, and just government cannot do anything. We have to also make sure that we do everything that is possible in our hands to make sure that we are at least safe and we don't spread this COVID-19 to other people. So this is the key. Apart from that, we know it very well. What are the things that we need to do? Then we have one more important article. It's from Indian Express. It's about information war. Now the thing is, if you analyze this whole, what do we say, the right word? I cannot get the right word today. I'm talking about this whole strategy of Pakistan. Pakistan is aware that it cannot afford and it cannot win a formal war with India. So it has opted for proxy war. Proxy war means you are sending your intruders here, and they will kill people. They will keep this whole Kashmir topic, a very lively topic, in front of, you will find it in front page news, front page of newspapers, and BBC will talk about it, and CNN will talk about it, and Al Jazeera will talk about it. So it will, Pakistan is trying its level best to keep this Kashmir issue a hot international topic. But Balakot strike, after Balakot means Pakistan used to think that India will never attack us because we have nuclear power. We are nuclear power and we have nuclear weapons. But this was proved wrong by this Balakot airstrike. Then BJP was elected again. So this was an indication. This is a clear indication that people of India would like to see a muscular government as well as policy. And then this Pakistan used to believe that India will never touch Article 370. But the central government has literally chucked this thing into a bin bag, this Article 370. So there are so many things that India has done, and these are defeats of Pakistan. This Balakot airstrike, BJP coming into power, removal of Article 370. So now Pakistan has started information war. They have this Inter-Service Public Relations, ISPR of ISI, and ISPR is a one-stop destination for information war against India. It provides videos, written material, and so many other things, audio clips, and so many things. And this, the main target of Pakistan's information war is our secular as well as an inclusive society, our democratic polity, our decisive government, as well as a developing economic powerhouse and strong foreign policy. These people, they are everywhere on Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, Facebook, and what they do is they create that you will find a person from a particular religion. He will talk bad things about person from another religion, and so naturally those people or those let's say in comment section you read this thing many times, not in educational videos but in other videos, in defense videos and things like that. A Hindu, a so-called person, he will use Hindu name and he will talk bad things about Muslims. So naturally Muslims are going to react. Some of them will say that you are not right, and some of them will go to an extent and they will use bad words. So do you think like these people are real? Right? What they do is they trigger this agencies, right? They have this fake accounts, they have operators, they hire people, they recruit thousands of youths, train them in mechanics of social media and use them to project anti-India themes. So they will write this bad things, they will use this Hindu name and then they will say bad things about Muslims, and this will create a stereotype and this will add fuel to that stereotype. And then they say that Kashmiris, they need azadi, and Kashmiris are waging jihad against India, and Indian army is violating human rights of Kashmir. These are the themes that they are spreading. And you can see here Pakistan's Army Green Book 2020, an article by Lieutenant General Raza Muhammad Khan, retired, states that with the proliferation of internet nowadays, nothing can escape exaggeration, distortion and fabrication to manipulate perceptions on crucial issues of peace. On internet, because of internet, you can manipulate, you can exaggerate, you can distort facts. And Farzana Shah has said that a single video clip or picture can change the perception of India, which it has built so painstakingly over the years. So be very careful, right? Don't indulge yourself in this sort of negative things, people using bad words against each other, all these things. Someone is running this racket, remember. Now, dear friends, our country celebrated 21st Kargil Vijay Divas yesterday, Operation Vijay in 1999, Kargil War. And dear friends, we are beaten by the clock, so we don't have that much time to discuss these things. But I want you guys to download the PDF of today's lecture and go through the lines that are there on your screen, right? These are news items that I want you guys to go through. This is important. This person is important. And you need to know a bit about bamboo as well. And these are a few news items that I want you to go through, right? And that's everything. I'll see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.